Hello, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful day here at Comic-Con 2024. I'm Chris Sweda from That's My Entertainment. Come along with me as we get to talk to the minds behind the Massiverse. Hey guys, I'm here with Melissa from Massiverse.
Hello.
So, can you tell us a little bit about what went into creating this universe?
Absolutely. So we're a bunch of writers from a bunch of different disciplines. But one of the things we all had in common, at least initially, was that we were all Power Ranger writers, and so we all fell in love with the idea of like superheroes, and we all had different experiences with that, and we had our own fantasies about what that would make, what a superhero universe would be if we got a chance to put one together. And so Kyle created Radiant Black. Obviously, he was thinking superheroes with today's problem. Like if you see Radiant Black, it's Nathan with a lot of debt and just something I think we can all relate to. And so when it came to expanding that universe, he reached out to me, to Ryan, to other people. I'm like, if you could create your own superhero in this universe, what would it look like? So we all came with our own ideas. In my case, it was the Dead Lucky. So it was BB, who is a veteran with PTSD, who comes back to San Francisco and discovers that her town has been privatized by a company that basically has made it a for-profit city. And as somebody who has fought her whole life for freedom, it's not something she's super into. But she also has a lot of PTSD she doesn't want to deal with. So she's like, what better way to deal with not deal with my PTSD than to possess a bunch of robots and fight back?
So, do you have any advice for any young writers who might want to get into this business?
I would say learn from your favorite writers and read as much as you can. If you can get your hands on scripts, a lot of writers will post the scripts. Make sure you read that. Read every medium. The way I stayed working, and I still stay working, is to be as diverse as possible. So even if you love comics, learn video games, learn podcasts, learn TV, learn whatever you can, and absorb as much as you can, and make network. It's all about who you know.
Awesome. I know it's very busy, and I thank you for your time. So I'm here with Brian, who now, Brian, what goes into making your books? Like, what is your process?
I mean, a lot of planning. I think in the case of No One, it took about a year to sort of build out the entire world, the city, the characters, the big mystery. So it's really a lot of research, a lot of planning, and a lot of sort of just painstaking preparation. Well, I think by the time it comes to writing, you should have the whole thing down. So,
Do you have a favorite moment in your books that you have written about? Like, what's your favorite part? I'm assuming all of it because it's your child, but
honestly, it's whatever I'm working on in the moment. I'm very proud of all the work that I've done, whether it's No One or Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong or my book Midlife. Like, I think when you're in it, you love what you're doing. So it's really hard to answer that question.
No worries. So, final question. Now, there was an announcement made about a movie coming out. What's it like seeing your characters come from that paid medium over to an actual live action, or not a live action, but an anime drawing?
No, it will be live action.
Oh, it's going to be live action. My apologies.
I mean, we're early in the process, so we haven't seen it yet come to life. But he and I have experience in that world already, so we're just looking forward to getting there. So
awesome. Well, thank you for your time. I know it's busy. Sure. I'm here with Kyle. Now, Kyle, can you give us a little bit of background of the huge verse this Massiverse is?
Absolutely. So my name is Kyle Higgins. I am the creative director and founder of Black Market Narrative, which is our little creative collective studio. We make a lot of comic books. We make audio series, and now we're making, we've done some live action shorts and animation as well. We're doing a big live action feature coming up here tied to one of our books. That book is called No One, and it's a part of the Massiverse. So the Massiverse is our interconnected shared superhero universe published at Image Comics. It's made up of titles like Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, Inferno Girl Red, The Dead Lucky, Cowl, and No One. The cool thing about the universe is that it's entirely creator owned. So all of the core teams own their own books. and you don't have to read anything you're not interested in. So everything is siloed. Radiant Black is, I like to describe as like Power Rangers with adult problems. There's a little bit of Invincible in there as well. It's definitely like a sci-fi superhero series. It takes big swings and lots of twists and turns. We play with the medium a lot. We do fan votes for who's the lead character, and then we've broken the narrative and are double publishing 2 different timelines at once right now under a variant cover. Rogue Sun is a supernatural supernatural Batman Beyond with like a crappy dead dad who haunts the suit of armor, and like a Flash Thompson type teenager who gets the powers and now is trying to become both a better person and a hero. Inferno Girl Red is our YA Hope Punk series. Dead Lucky is about a soldier with PTSD who comes back to San Francisco with these electrical abilities as she pilots these mechas as she's fighting this like corporate kind of tech billionaire douchebag. Can I say that?
Douchebag works.
Who's trying to privatize the city and take it over. And then we have miniseries like Radiant Red and Radiant Pink that are offshoots of Radiant Black. We have Shift, who is our bad boy anti-hero, the Massiverse. And then we have the original series that kind of kicked everything off 10 years ago was Cowl, about the superhero labor union in 1960s Chicago.
Oh, wow.
That's coming back now with Cowl 1964, #1. It's out August 6th. And then No One, which is our true crime superhero series. We call it an experience because in addition to being a 10-issue comic run, it also has an in-universe scripted audio podcast with Rachel Lee Cook, Patton Oswalt, Todd Stashwick, Lauren Lester, Yuri Lowenthal, all voicing characters from the book who are making a podcast of the events that are going on.
Oh, wow.
Today, we're announcing that story is actually continuing in a third medium, which is a true crime found footage superhero documentary that Brian Buccellato and I are writing and producing with Steven Schneider, who produced Paranormal Activity, the Insidious films, Late Night with the Devil, and ZQ Entertainment. I'm also, Brian and I are writing it. I'm also directing it. It'll be my first feature. And it's both an adaptation of the events of the comic and podcast, but it's also in universe with both.
Oh, wow.
So it's a continuation
Nice
of the
way
story
to connect
as well.
everything, kind of wrap
It's
it up.
all this tapestry. Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, what's it like going from one medium to another and doing your first directing of your first live action superhero film, which I find interesting that you're doing the found footage style with it, because I haven't really seen that.
It's been a minute. That's something that Steven, Brian, and I talked about quite a bit, and I think it's why he was so excited about this. I mean, we've designed this for about 3 years now, and it's very exciting. I mean, my background is in writing and directing. That's my first love is.
It's been a few shows I believe we've seen you on Con here.
Yeah, and like I came from a live action background. Cowl is actually based on my college thesis film called The League.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I got my career started. So what's really cool about what we're doing with the Massiverse and everything is like all the books I've written over the years, like Power Rangers and all the Batman line and everything. I'm super proud of it, but it's also like it's stuff I was only doing as a writer. And I am much more of a director. So the ability and opportunity to kind of go out and really kind of try to push the boundaries of comics by working in other mediums that are additive to the story you're doing in comics. Like that also scratches those creative itches that I have as a director, as a producer. So it's so much fun, but I also really pride myself on really trying to take advantage of not only a concept, but the actual medium that we're working in, as opposed to just like, you know, doing a podcast because you can do a podcast. It's like, well, why does this work, and how do you play into kind of the style and tropes of this kind of medium and genre that, you know, that is out there? And that's a really fun challenge.
Well, we look forward to seeing it come out, and make sure to stay here tuned to That's My Entertainment for more on that to come. So I'm here with Ryan from writer of Rogue Sun. Can you give the audience just a little bit of backstory about what Rogue Sun is?
Yeah, so Rogue Sun is about a 17-year-old kid named Dylan Siegel. He lives in New Orleans. His dad left when he was a little kid, and he's a little bit of he's different than traditional superheroes. He's a bit of an asshole. He's more like Flash Thompson than sort of like a Peter Parker. Anyways, he finds out that his dad has passed away. And so when he goes to the will reading, he actually discovers that his father was actually a superhero named Rogue Sun and has left him the mantle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when he puts the helmet on, though, and gets all the powers, there's actually like a 6-foot-tall ghost standing over his shoulder telling him, you got to do better. You got to be better. So it's this weird, messed up father-son story.
Judgmental from beyond the grave.
Absolutely. absolutely the worst kind of thing. It's like my friend said, it's like, it's imagine if your father left you a sports car, but when you drive it around, your dad's sitting in the seat next to you going, are you really going to press you're not taking care of this car the rest of the way that I love it. Yeah.
It's like your dad's Jarvis.
Exactly. It's your dad's Jarvis. Yeah, exactly. Or Tony Stark's dad. Imagine that. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I can't even wrap my head around that. So what made you want to get into comic books? I know you went to school for it, but was there like a comic book that inspired you, that made you want to this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going?
Yeah, so I went to school for art. I wanted to draw comics. Like, I was super excited. I made them with my friends when I was in high school, made up stuff, and I realized very quickly that I was never going to be J. Scott Campbell or Jim Lee. that was never going to be my thing. So I actually went into film school, but I never lost my love of comics. Like, my grandfather would take me to Inner Sanctum Comics in Bakersfield, California, every day after school when he picked me up, and so we'd go buy books and stuff like that. And I was like 14 when Image started. I was like 14. And so that's the perfect moment. And I think I spent more money. I would have sold blood to buy more comics. So I just loved all those. I loved all of those creator-owned books. And so those were really the ones that sparked it. I I've read all the big two, but those early Image books where you followed, Rob Liefeld, and that was such a big deal to me. So the idea that now I'm getting to do my own Image book is crazy. I feel like an imposter every day.
It's like dream come true. It's like, wait a minute, they know.
So we were at New York Comic Con, and Todd McFarlane comes walking down the thing, and Kyle's like, I'm going to introduce you. I'm like, do not do that. And I'm like, I cannot meet the Todd father. And he's like, and he does it anyways. And I shook his hand. He's like, hey, I've heard of Rogue Sun. I like it. I'm like, no, you didn't.
You're like, I'm dead. I'm gone.
He walked away, and I hugged Kyle. I was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Now, what advice would you give to anybody who wants to get into comic books?
I would say, look, it's a hard business. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of takes a lot of time. It took us years to get to this point. I would say, if you want to get into comic books, the best thing to do is find other people who get into comics. I know that sounds like a weird thing to whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram.
The whole thing here is a series of friends that just got together and.
It is so much more fun to do comics with people that you love and hang out with. The best thing is, we're going to break story tonight at a bar, hanging out, and that a lot of the stories that we come up with come from conversations, just hanging out with, the same conversations we had as friends, we do now. It's the same thing. So that's what I say. Find people that you love working with, that you think are talented, that you think that are people that you want to work with, and then build comics together. Kyle, before Kyle ever got into comics, we would hang out at his house, and he'd be like, hey, I've got this idea for a Spider-Man story, or I got this idea for a Nightwing story, and we'd break it for fun. And do that with your friends that want to, and find people who want to get in comics with you and work together, because you guys are all, here's the not too long, but here's the thing I heard. People think that networking is having somebody above you reach down and pull you up into the next level. No. Networking is finding a lot of people at the bottom and building a ladder together, putting that ladder up, and then one by one you guys go up. And the first person goes up, and they reach down and bring the next person up. That's how it works.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're busy, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.
Have a good one.
That's great.